Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So I did my updated kind of like middle to the end of the month Senate prediction a couple of days ago. I had to do a video yesterday that was not prediction related, mainly because of the fact that John Fetterman was such a train wreck in that debate. And now in today's video, we're going to be doing our end of the month governor's prediction. We're going to be doing Senate, House, and governor's prediction, obviously before Election Day in about a week or two when it happens. But either way, this is going to be the governor's prediction. There are some safe states that have not been filled out yet because they do require some additional analysis. But nevertheless, we are going to dive into this and fill out this map because it's important. We've got the midterms happening in approximately 12 days or so from now. It's crazy. But first, I have to tell you guys a little bit more about redeaglepolitics.com. Make sure you guys join the membership club on the website. It is just $5 a month, also known as 16 cents a day. You get all of my exclusive videos. I dropped one on there today. You get all of my exclusive articles as well. So make sure you guys sign up. The link will be in the description and the pinned comment down below. But furthermore, we're going to start off here. We're going to fill out some of the additional safe blue states first here. And then we're going to go to the safe red states, and we'll work our way down to the more competitive states. But furthermore, let's start off here with the state of Illinois. Illinois is a state that I think is going to be a Democrat victory. I think it's going to be within possibly 15 points or so. Could even maybe get within 10 according to some polling, but polls in Illinois actually do tend to overestimate Republicans, unlike most other states in the Midwest. We're going to put this one as Democrat for right now. We'll go Pritzker by around 12 points or so over Bailey. So we'll now fill out some of the other safe Republican states. Ohio is one, for example. DeWine should win easily. Reynolds should win easily in Iowa. She's going up against someone who lost by a decent margin for a statewide office in 2018. Iowa Democrats are basically nowhere to be found this cycle. They're not even going to have a single seat in their congressional delegation. Furthermore, we have to fill out the state of New Hampshire. Sununu, he will win easily there. The state of Texas, I believe that you will see Greg Abbott win by more than 10 points. The state of Oklahoma, which again, there have been some polls that have come out that have this as like a competitive race, but there usually is one of those races, you know, every cycle. Oklahoma in 2018 was one of them, where there have been a decent amount of polls that end up being off by 10 to 15 points or so in a safe blue state or a safe red state. And Kevin Stitt, even though he's not the most popular, he's weak on crime. His problem with the base really isn't that big. He's still got around 70% of the vote in the primary there. He should have no problem defeating his resist lib LARPing as a moderate opponent there. And in the state of Florida, DeSantis will also probably end up winning by a safe margin there as well. Given the early vote data that we've seen out of Florida, Republicans are doing very well, even in places like Palm Beach County and Miami-Dade. They appear to be poised for a relatively solid victory overall in the state of Florida. So 23 for the Republicans, 11 for the Democrats. We're going to fill out the remaining seats on this map here. We're going to be starting off with the likely Democrat. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Connecticut, we're going to move that to safe. We're going to move Connecticut to safe. Stefanowski, he can't even get within 10 in a lot of polls. And in 2018, he ran a decent campaign. But in 2022, all he's done is cave into the opposition, and it's not working out for him. Contrast that with somebody like Zeldin in New York or somebody like Youngkin last year in Virginia, who actually worked to appeal to independent voters while not really compromising the message. Stefanowski hasn't learned. He's being O'Day, but for the governor's race there in Connecticut, it's not going to work out for him. I would probably assume at this point he loses by 12, especially because Ned Lamont's popularity has gone up since then. We did forget Colorado. That one will also be in the safe Democrat column, probably going to go blue by just over 10 points or so because Polis has a decent standing among independent voters in the state. So we're going to go to the likely blue states. We're going to start off with Rhode Island, where we don't really know what's going to happen because we haven't seen a lot of polling, but Dan McKee is extremely unpopular. He got less than a third of the primary vote as an incumbent. He was not previously elected to the position. Gina Raimondo left to D.C. to work in Biden's administration. He was the replacement there. Ashley Callis is running on the Republican side. I do believe she'll probably fall short, but I do believe that Alan Fung is going to win that congressional seat there. We'll put that one as likely Democrat, at least for right now. In terms of the other likely blue states, there really aren't any. We're going to be moving on to the likely Republican states. We'll start off with the state of Georgia. Brian Kemp, he's in good standing in nearly every single poll. He's up between 5 and 10 points or so. I believe he will win. I think that his margin of victory is going to be enough to also carry Herschel Walker to the finish line in the state of Georgia there. So that is a victory for the Republicans in the likely column. We can also put the state of Alaska in the likely column as well. The only reason why I don't have it as safe red is because of the fact that there is ranked choice voting in the state of Alaska, and that potentially very well could cause the race to be within 10 points or so. But either way, Dunleavy should get by. So 25 seats already in the Republican column, 14 seats in the Democrat column. We're going to fill out the remaining 11 seats. We're going to start off on the East Coast, up in the Northeast in the state of Maine. We're going to work our way down through the West Coast and the Southwest here on this map. So we'll start off with the state of Maine, where it apparently seems as if we don't have that much polling. I do believe Mills is the favorite over LePage right now, but we've seen ridiculous polling errors in the state of Maine. There's so much we don't know. I'll put this one as tilt D for now. It is subject to change. I will be updating my prediction map in the next couple weeks or so before the election. We'll move on now to the state of New York. Lee Zeldin, he's running up against Kathy Hochul, very unpopular incumbent in the state of New York. Even in like Quinnipiac, it's a 5-point race in a state that voted for Joe Biden. We'll pull this up here. You could see by 23 percentage points or so in the state of New York. The real question is there enough math to give Zeldin the victory? I think it's possible. As of right now, I'm going to keep this one. We'll actually move it. It was likely D. Now we're going to move it to lean D, if not even tilt D, potentially by the end of this. But Hochul did very awful in the debate. We'll just really have to see what happens over the next couple of weeks in the state of New York to determine who's actually going to win this. But crime is a big pressing issue there, and Zeldin's capitalizing on it. Population loss, he's capitalizing on it. It just depends about the partisan lean of the state. Definitely for governor's races, it really doesn't matter as much as it does for, congressional races or Senate races, for example, because national politics are different than statewide politics. But either way, it is still a factor, and we'll see if Zeldin is able to pull it off when it's all said and done. So now we're going to go south one state to the state of Pennsylvania. And I really had high hopes for Doug Mastriano. I think that if he does still end up winning, he's going to be the best governor in the country alongside Kari Lake in the state of Arizona, which we'll get to in a second. But either way, what we do know about the state of Pennsylvania is there are severe polling errors. Mastriano is currently down in the polls by around 7 points or so, but what we saw in the primary was that he outperformed the polls in Pennsylvania by approximately 10 points or so. Shapiro vastly underperformed the polls when he was running for attorney general in the 2020 election, barely outperformed Biden. You see Dr. Oz surging, Fetterman's imploding. There are some crossover voters that we know of, but could Oz carry Mastriano to the finish line if he wins by more than it's expected? It's extremely possible. We'll really just have to wait and see. I think this race is going to be much closer than the polls actually have it right now. Pennsylvania is still a state that is a swing state in a Republican-leaning national environment. I am going to have to put this one as tilt to lean D right now, but I'm hoping that Mastriano is able at the end of the day to pull it off. We'll have to wait and see, but as of right now, the RGA do see abandoning him, a total disgrace. They're only helping candidates that they think won't be that serious of a threat to their agenda. It's very clear. But either way, Mastriano does have my full support, but as of right now, we'll put it as tilt to lean D. So now we'll go to the state of Michigan, where it's an opposite situation, where Tudor Dixon is actually surging in a lot of the polls against Gretchen Whitmer. And she's doing very well in the debate. She's doing better with independents in nearly every poll that we've seen. And people were questioning this race because of the whole abortion question, but that is on a separate part of the ballot for the most part, and Dixon is kind of talking more about the other issues, and, Whitmer talking about abortion. Is that really going to help her that much? Because the issue is on the ballot as a separate question. Sadly, I do expect the referendum to pass through, and it will be codified in the Constitution. However, at the same time, I think this very well could help Dixon. I'm going to move this one to tilt Republican right now because the polls are within a couple of points or so in Michigan, a week or 2 weeks ahead of the election. It's possible we could move this one back to tilt D, but I'm very high on Dixon, which I really wasn't in my last prediction, but the past couple of weeks have been a couple of great weeks for her campaign. She has all the momentum, and I think she very well could end up pulling it off. So we're going to go one state to the west, the state of Wisconsin, where Ron Johnson's, running up the margins there in the Senate race. However, they do have an incumbent Democrat governor. Tim Michels is the Republican nominee. He did very well in the Driftless area in the primary, but he also did very respectably well in the, ancestrally Republican WOW counties surrounding Milwaukee. I believe that at the end of the day, Wisconsin is going to flip Republican. A lot of people believe this. I think it's going to be around 4 points or so. Could be by even a wider margin than that. At the end of the day, I think Johnson's going to win by 7. I think that you will see Michels trail him by a couple of points, mainly because of the incumbency factor at play. But still, I believe Wisconsin is going to go Republican this cycle for the governorship there. So we'll go one state to the west yet again. We'll go to the state of Minnesota, where I do believe that Tim Walz will win re-election. Minneapolis is too far gone. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. A lot of the population is concentrated in the Twin Cities area, which was burned to the ground in 2020, and then moved vastly to the left. We know this. Tim Walz, he's going to be under fire because of crime, but Jensen is somebody that doesn't really energize the rural areas too much. I think they could pick off the AG position there because Keith Ellison is not that popular, has really never been to begin with. But as of right now, Minnesota, we'll put that one as lean Democrat. So now we're going to go down to the state of Kansas. Derek Schmidt, he's running up against Laura Kelly. Laura Kelly won by around 5 in a blue wave year. We know this because of the fact that the Brownback administration was not super popular, and that really didn't bode well for Kobach. However, I do believe this cycle it's going to be a little bit different. Derek Schmidt is running, the current attorney general. I believe that he's going to end up winning by around probably 3 or 4 points. Kelly's doing the whole fake moderate thing, but I think midterm turnout is going to swamp her in the state of Kansas. So we're going to go southwest to the state of New Mexico, where the current incumbent, Michelle Lujan Grisham, is not super popular. I've done videos about this going back about a year now. And she's going to be going up against Mark Ronchetti, who outperformed the polls in the 2020 election when he was running for Senate. He only ended up losing by around 5 to 6. Meanwhile, you look at Trump, he lost the state by around 10 to 11. And we know that governor's elections are far less polarizing than Senate elections because statewide politics are different than national politics. There's also a third-party challenger that's polling at like 4% in the polls. That's a right-wing third party. They could screw Ronchetti at the end of the day. However, we do know that third parties tend to poll better than they actually perform. I think New Mexico, we could move this one into the tilt Republican column, and Ronchetti could very well pull off the state of New Mexico. So we'll go one state to the west, the state of Arizona. Kari Lake is doing very well up against Katie Hobbs. Katie Hobbs, the creepy cat lady, she's a very awful candidate. She has never really been that popular, and she's not even debating. She's not campaigning. She said that she doesn't talk about politics with people that she disagrees with. She's gone on record and has said this. It's really not working out too well for her campaign. And Kari Lake is running a very good campaign. She's got great general election messaging. She's really proving the doubters wrong. I believe Lake is going to win by around 4 points at the end of the day, potentially by even more. We'll just have to wait and see, but she's, got this charisma factor going for her. She was a folk hero in terms of the local news media. That's going to bode well in terms of getting undecided voters on her side, which she's been doing a good job of so far. So we'll go to the northwest here. We're still in the southwest region, but to the state of Nevada, which is northwest of Arizona, where Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo is going up against incumbent Governor Steve Sisolak, who arguably was just as bad in terms of the lockdowns as somebody like Cuomo or Newsom or Whitmer was in the state of Nevada. And he lost popularity as time went on because of this, but also you have Lombardo. He's running. He's the current sheriff of Clark County, very popular in the population center, which is the Vegas area there. And the Democrat apparatus has collapsed in Nevada. I think Laxalt is going to win by a few points. I think Lombardo is going to win by a few points as well. The polls are actually reflective of that, which is interesting. So there's one state left, the state of Oregon, which is a very interesting debacle there, because you have Christine Drazan, the Republican. She's going up against Tina Kotek, the Democrat, the protege of the very unpopular incumbent and now going governor, Kate Brown. You also have Betsy Johnson in the race, who is an independent, who's running as a third party, kind of like a center-left or a centrist type of character. Some may even argue she's taking votes away from Drazan. There have been some head-to-head polls that have Drazan doing better against Kotek one-on-one than in terms of the three-way race. But either way, I think Drazan's going to narrowly pull it off. The meme of Red Oregon is going to come into fruition this cycle. It's going to happen. It's going to be real. And Republicans are going to take 32 governorships in total. After the midterms, Democrats are going to have just 18. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.